This is a little bit new for me to be doing a manga review, but if you really think about it, I sell anime figures, so why not make an anime/manga related video? So here goes my first review of one of my favorite manga I've been reading lately. I gotta hand it to the most goated scriptwriter Blue King for recommending me this anime/manga. Honestly, it's a pretty cool manga because it's everything you want. It's got everything you could ever want from a better manga, of course. It is filled to the brim with strong, buff, and interesting men that rival the likes of Baki. So for those out of the group, Ragnarok is a battle manga that brings in heroes and gods from all types of mythologies. So in the beginning of the story, all the gods from every pantheon exist at once, and they all share a council meeting in Valhalla where Zeus, the father of the gods, brings all the gods together to decide humanity's fate. Jesus poses the question, is humanity even worth saving? Everyone decides whether humanity should be allowed to live for another thousands of years. Majority vote gets to decide the fate of humanity. The gods decided unanimously to destroy humanity. To be honest, I would have been a fair play, because I don't really want to live, and they'd be doing us a favor. But that's not what Brunhilde had in mind. If you don't know who Brunhilde is, she is the eldest of the 13 Valkyries from Norse mythology, and calls out the gods and says that they should test humanity's worth.
I got it! Oh! Tiger, 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 tiger. Oh, I yield! Someone help!
And they 1v1 fight to the death, where first to 7 victories wins. The gods obviously think this is a joke, because honestly, to be honest, how the hell are you ever going to go up against the gods? You know, if I was personally fighting, I'd known I'd be getting clapped by them. But personally, I'd be fighting Aphrodite, because, oh my god, who wouldn't want to die to those mommy milkers, boys? You know what I'm saying? It'd be a dream match made in heaven, quite literally, actually. Sorry, boys. This is November we're talking about. I gotta chill, you know? I'm staying strong.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I 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 need it!
So, the plan doesn't work, so now what? What would you do in this situation? Do you A. Say I had a good run? I just died. B. Try to fight this decision? Or C. Go the Sigma male route and insult the gods, basically calling them and Brunhilde went with option C and called them but she insinuated that by calling them chicken, and the gods having a frailer ego than rice gum, they immediately accepted to put humanity in their place. Here's where things get juicy. If you're wondering who the hell would be fighting against the gods, well, the answer is simple. It is humanity's warriors and heroes. Enough of this boring exposition. Now we're talking about what you came here to see, and the fights don't disappoint, folks. The first fight is by far one of the most badass introductions to the manga, where the first guy that goes up is Thor, the god of thunder, and his opponent, the mad lad Lubu. Now, you're wondering who the hell Lubu is. Anyways, I'll explain for you quickly for all of those who failed history. Don't feel too bad. I actually had to Google Lubu before I made this video. But anyways, Lubu is known as the Flying General who hails from ancient China. He was a pretty strong general around this time of the Eastern Han Dynasty. The man was a supporter of Ding Yuan.
Ooh, nobody gives a shit!
And before you stop watching this video, let's get to who he is in the story. Well, in the story, he's a madman, but he's considered to be the strongest warrior in history. You don't really need much of an explanation about who Thor is, because honestly, why should you? I have watched the Marvel movie. Yeah, he is a zappy hammer guy. What else is there to say? I'm not going to spoil too much of the story, but I will be hyping up for what happens during the fight. These tournaments are an actual battle to the death, where if a person dies, they're obviously dead forever. Pretty self-explanatory. The best part about this series is that you don't really know who's going to win, so rooting for either side isn't bad. The story doesn't seem to have any apparent bad guys, but most people's instinct is to side with the humans, since they are the ones who we can relate to the most. But you have some of the more interesting gods fighting in the tournament, so rooting for them isn't a bad idea either. They make these fights fair by putting each opponent in an even playing field, but that depends on the matchup. In the story, every single fighter is a freak in their own way. I'll be discussing the first two matchups, which are honestly some of my favorite fights, and obviously there are more currently as of recording. The manga is only in round 7. As I said, the first fight is Thor vs. Lubu. The story gets pretty hyped from here, where the Valkyries from earlier gather together in the hopes of helping humanity. They do some Sailor Moonlight transformation with the humans, and they become a weapon of the humans' choice. And the weapon is, of course, a divine weapon that is able to pierce the gods' flesh and actually cause damage. And this is pretty useful because obviously, if they went up against the gods with a normal weapon, they were going to get clapped. The first fight between Thor and Lewu is honestly quite exciting for the beginning of the manga, and even the art style is honestly some of my favorite, because normally early manga is usually decent or okay in some instances, or even bad, but not Record of Ragnarok. Right off the bat, some high quality artwork throughout every single fight. In the first fight, we see firsthand how strong Lubu is when fighting Thor, where he ends up actually damaging Thor, who was considered to be OP. Well, I mean, he technically is, but it was pretty shocking to see Thor take some actual damage.
Is this some kind of twisted joke?
The gods take this as a joke, and they realize pretty quickly that humans might actually have the ability to actually take them down. Let's move on to the next fight, which is by far one of the hypest fights ever between Zeus, the father of the gods, versus Adam, the father of humanity. Where was this in the Bible again?
The Bible.
This is the Bible.
You question the words of the mighty Jimmy!
Okay, when did the Bible get the DLC? How does Adam even fight? Or how is he strong enough to fight the gods? Well, apparently Adam is the closest thing to a god because he was quote-unquote created in the image of God, so in theory you have the strength of one. So this matchup isn't looking too bad, but not only did they show Adam, but they also showed the original MILF, Eve. Well, let's get back to the fight. It has high stakes based on the fact that currently the strongest characters are put up against each other in a battle to the death, which sounds exciting, and it is. The fight had a lot of twists and turns, where to be fair, you really didn't know who was going to win, especially in the end, or the outcome was honestly rather shocking, and really badass in the way it ended. Fans agree that this is one of the most exciting fights in the manga. The roster is full of a lot of interesting selection from both gods and humans. Like one of the humans I'm the most hyped for is the man, the myth, the legend, the Russian love machine, Gregory Rasputin. I know this is incorrect. Gregory wasn't around during the communist time. I just need an excuse to put in the communist song in the video. Please don't tell the authorities.
FBI, open up!
Jack the Ripper, who is known as a Thought Slayer. Wait, that's not his actual title. Whatever, he's a Victorian era Thought Slayer. Or even Nikola Tesla. No, not that Tesla, the human, not the car, stupid. The most hype fighter who has a whole fan base excited is a man known as Simo Haya, who is a sniper from World War II. For those who are a little more knowledgeable, they might know that his nickname was the White Death, the deadly sniper known in human history. The kill count of 500 people in his lifetime. Now, let's not get too hyped about the humans. There are also some pretty cool gods. Among the gods fighting, we'll see Anubis, the god of the underworld of the Egyptian mythos, Odin, the father of Thor, and finally my personal favorite would be Beelzebub, who is the Lord of the Flies for those who were wondering. The roster is honestly pretty solid. Each fight has lots of twists and turns, which makes the series what it is, and is honestly some of the best work. Personally, as of recently, the way the story is set up has humanity's last hope, where every fight matters, which keeps the stake at an all-time high. By the way the tournament gets set up, each character gets enough development to give reasons to why the fighter is involved in the tournament and how strong the characters are, both humans and gods. This prevents the story from being rather bland and boring to watch. Each fighter gets enough development, so it is written beautifully. Even though it might come off as a generic battle manga, trust me, it is much more than that. One of the things I like about the series is how crazy and so genius it is. Personally, there are a lot of those matches I would have wanted to see, but since the tournament only allows 13 humans and 13 gods, we can't see all the dream matchups. Honestly, if you were to ask me, I would have J. Robert Oppenheimer versus Lucifer, which would be a battle between sinners. Another one I would have liked to see was Joan of Arc, the Maid of Orleans, versus Hera, the goddess of fertility. This fight would be a fight between the ideal woman we see in Hera versus a strong woman like we see in Joan of Arc. Honestly, I would love to know what kind of dream matchups you guys would want to see. It's just a rather interesting thing to think about. If you have any dream matchups you would like to see, put them in the comments, or I would like to see what you guys think of whether it is a dream fight or a thing for a fight. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. I post content even though I currently don't have a consistent schedule. I will try to put out a video when I can. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I'm that motherfucking captain. I'll be snapping like a bitch. I want pennies for my thoughts until I'm motherfucking rich. Had that Nelly country grandma used to bump that Ludacris.